What if I told you that despite hitting the gym and nailing your macros, there still could be something standing in between you and your goals? Recovery. I know recovery isn't the sexiest thing to talk about. It's not as sexy as lifting super heavy or as eating those healthy foods. And those things are great, don't get me wrong. But recovery is an essential part of any fitness journey, whether you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle or both. Today I'm gonna take you guys with me through my pre-workout, post-workout, and bedtime routines, and then chat a little bit about why recovery is so important, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. But I'm literally losing daylight, so let's head to the gym while I tell you about the benefits of recovery and why you shouldn't sleep on it, no pun intended. Now, before we get into our upper body warm up, that's new for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about my leg day warm up, which you guys have seen me do before. And basically, I won't go into too much detail on the movements, but I've seen such a huge difference in how my body feels doing my workouts now that I regularly include a warm up. My knees don't feel as tight during hip thrusts and during Bulgarian split squats, and neither do my muscles. Like, I feel like everything just feels good. I feel like a well-oiled machine. So if you've been thinking about adding warm ups, I highly recommend just taking an extra 10 minutes before your workout and making sure you're just a well-oiled machine ready to perform as good as possible. But speaking of performing as good as possible, one thing I've been heavily neglecting is an upper body warm-up, but that changes today because I want to see those benefits I see in my leg days, in my upper body days as well. Upper body is a lot less intense for me, but that doesn't mean I don't need to warm up. So I'm adding this into each of my upper body days. Look at me flexing. Like, girl, let's get back to the warm-up. Anyways, but I really want to just do some things that especially help warm up that back and shoulders. And these aren't the only warm-ups I'll be doing, because I'll also be doing some warm-up sets for certain exercises, which we'll get to in a bit. But I really want to incorporate just some really thoughtful, intentional movement before I actually start the bulk of my workout. I used to have really bad issues with my traps, so I also like to warm those up with light weights by just doing some shrugs. I noticed that my trap, it was overactive during like basically every workout. And so what you can do to help with that, if you're straining a muscle during workouts that shouldn't be strained, is training basically the muscle that does the opposite motion. But obviously strengthening that takes time. So another thing to help with an overactive muscle that has worked for me is warming it up before the exercise. So at least if it does end up doing any work, even though obviously I don't want it to, that it's warmed up and it's not like a huge shock to that muscle. And so this has really helped out for me, to be honest. So that's my upper body warm up, but I also add some warm up sets to certain exercises that I do. So the workouts that I'll be doing warm ups on are gonna be my chest press, just because this is the first movement hitting the chest. Same idea with shoulder press. I'll be adding in a warm up set here, just doing a light weight before I get into the actual weight that I normally do, and tricep dips as well, since that's the first time in a workout that I'm hitting triceps. So again, I'm not doing this for every single exercise, though you absolutely can, but I skip this for the other exercises like chest fly, because I already hit my chest with chest press and I feel pretty warmed up going into that. I also skip it on lateral raises because I'm pretty comfortable with how my shoulders feel after that shoulder press, and tricep push downs because I already hit triceps earlier. Again, sometimes I like to add some warm-up sets here and there, but it's not as essential as those first three that I talked about. Hello, I actually had to leave the gym in such a rush because I forgot they closed an hour earlier than normal on Fridays. And so I literally had 2 exercises left and there was 5 minutes before the gym closed. So I was rushing through that workout. So I didn't get to talk about the next thing we're gonna talk about there, but it's okay because we can do it at home. Foam rolling. I used to never foam roll at all, but honestly, it can just be so great for loosening up the tension in my muscles. I love to do it after a workout. You can also do foam rolling before your workout, or you can also do foam rolling on a rest day. Like, I'm gonna foam roll my legs, but I actually hit those yesterday, but they're so sore. And even though it is kind of tough, to feel it, especially on my glute right now, oh my God, it actually is really good. And I feel like it helps reduce my soreness and then just kind of get some mobility back into those muscles if they're feeling extra tight. Like, my calves were so tight the other day because I decided to do interval running for an hour. I never do interval running. I barely even do cardio. Okay, I'm trying to get into it. Anyways, needless to say, my calves got extremely tight and sore. So foam rolling them really, really did help me. In order to foam roll, basically, I'm gonna show you like 4
for doing my glute, for example, I'm going to place, I guess I'll do this cheek so you can see it, the glute on top of the foam roller. Oh my God, I'm already like dying. Now, the pressure is going to come from you like elevating yourself, right? So you're supporting yourself with your hands. If you want to add more pressure, which you really should, you're going to want to cross your leg over the other one. For the glutes, I do it like basically right behind my knee. So that most of that weight is going into the muscle. Oh my gosh. But sometimes if it's too intense for you to do that, especially when you're first starting out, you can just drop that and just kind of lean into the foam roller. And you'll do this on each muscle for 30 to 60 seconds. I personally do 60 seconds per muscle. And you want to foam roll on the length of the muscle, basically. So if you're foam rolling your quads, you'd foam roll from here to here. You'd stop at the knee. Obviously, we'd flip over for that. So it'd be like this, and we'd roll on it. So like I said, you can use that opposite leg to either support if you don't want to provide as much pressure, or you can kind of cross over. I mainly do this on my legs, but you could absolutely do it on other parts of your body, like your upper body, like your lats, which are honestly, my lats are so sore. When I went rock climbing the other day, oh my God, my lats are so sore. Foam rolling is most definitely going to be an adjustment, especially if you don't do it at all. The more you do it, the less uncomfortable it becomes, especially like the more routine you are with it, because the less tight your muscles will be. So just be mindful of that. If it's too much pressure, you know, you can support with the other leg, do what you got to do. But it's a great way to get blood flowing, kind of help those muscles feel a bit looser. And I've noticed a difference personally in terms of how sore I feel the next day if I foam rolled versus if I don't foam roll. So like I said, you can do this before a workout as part of your warm up if you'd like to. I'm just like not trying to warm up forever. I like to do it post workout, and you can also do it on your rest days. And honestly, it becomes a really nice feeling the more that you do it. Like doing my back just then felt so good. But there are certain muscles that foam rolling doesn't really work as well for, at least for me. Like I don't really like to foam roll my chest or my trap, my shoulders. And so I'll show you how I handle that. So for those muscles that I don't really feel like I can foam roll, or ones I just want to give a little bit of extra attention, I recently started adding in a massage gun and also a cupping massager. This is the Renpho Active Thermocool 2 massage gun. And what makes this different from every other massage gun I've tried, and honestly my favorite, is the heating and cooling technology. This thing can heat up to 113 degrees or cool down to 46 degrees. And also you can switch between heating and cooling right on here just by pressing these buttons. And it doesn't even have to stop the massage, which is just... So you can get heat or cooling on your muscles. And guys, when my calves were so sore from all that running, I just put this on the high heat. It was going over my calves. It felt amazing. And after an upper body day like today, I really like to get those areas that are hard for me to foam roll. So my chest and my shoulders, my traps, and it just feels so good, especially with adding that heat on top. It has 5 different speeds, so I keep it on the lower modes if I'm feeling really tender, or turn it up higher when I really want to get in there. Now this is the Renpho Embrace Cup Smart Heated Cupping Massager. And cupping is something that I only thought you could really get like at specialty spas. I didn't even know it was possible to do this at home. It uses infrared heating combined with the suction. So it's not just pressing on the muscle, it's actually lifting and warming the muscle at the same time. There are 3 intensity levels, so you can start low and work up depending on how tight you're feeling that day. And it also has a built-in timer, so you can set it for 3, 5, or 8 minutes per area. That way you're not just sitting there guessing how long it's been on each spot. And the battery lasts for over 70 minutes on charge, so it will absolutely last your whole session. Both of these together have really changed how my evenings feel after training and made my post-workout wind down something I like actually look forward to. Like it feels like a little high-tech spa day. I love it. Both of these are linked in the description down below. Huge thanks to Renpho for sponsoring today's video and being a continued supporter of the channel. All right, now that we have our pre-workout and post-workout routines covered, it's time to get into the most important routine of them all, and one of the most important parts of fitness in general that we all honestly ignore: sleep. So let's get ready for bed while we talk about the impact sleep has on your fitness journey and the things that you should consider when developing your own bedtime routine. Gotta go to bed, girl. Gotta wrap this yoga mat up. I know. yourself.
All right, I actually just got out of a nice shower, detangled my hair and everything, which perfectly leads me into talking about our bedtime wind down routine and why it is so important.
Hello, editing me jumping in because I actually feel like I needed to dive a little bit deeper into like why sleep is so important. So sorry that I'm kind of killing the nighttime vibe, cozy vibe we had going on, but I'll send you right back in a little bit. But I really want to talk about sleep and how it affects your fitness journey, both for weight loss and for muscle gain. Like no matter what your goals are, sleep is so important. And it's where a huge amount of the magic happens. And like really, we don't talk about it enough. And a lot of us neglect it, myself included. We'll start off by talking about muscle building and sleep's impact on that. So when you work out, you're putting your muscles under stress and your body adapts and comes back stronger, which of course you'll notice when you're being able to go up in weights and you're just getting stronger overall. But it gets stronger while you sleep. So while you're sleeping, your body literally releases a growth hormone during your deep sleep. So that is what's actually strengthening and rebuilding your muscles. So if you're not sleeping enough, but you're going to the gym and pushing super hard, you're genuinely like leaving so many gains on the table because you're not giving your body the time to actually grow and develop that muscle. And muscle protein synthesis, and we're getting kind of sciencey there, but that's basically just building new muscle tissue, is significantly higher when you're well rested. And studies show that sleep deprived people lose more muscle mass even when their diet is in check. So even if you're eating high in protein, hitting your workouts, doing everything right, your results could still be so limited because sleep is this crucial missing piece in your routine. Now let's talk about weight loss. A lot of you guys are on your weight loss journeys, and it can be kind of stressful trying to fit everything into the day, your workouts, your meal prep, everything. But you really need to make sure you are also finding time to rest. I know that sometimes that can feel like impossible, but this is why sleep and also, taking rest days when you need them is really important. So if you're not getting enough sleep, your body will have more ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and less leptin, which is that fullness hormone. So you'll feel a lot hungrier and it will be a lot harder for you to satisfy that feeling. And your body will specifically crave high calorie and high sugar foods for quick energy. I mean, think about what pre-workout is, right? Think about how sugary pre-workout can be. Think about the fact that some people are eating candy, in the gym to get that, quick carbs in order to hit their workout with energy. That's essentially what your body is looking for, craving these calorically dense, high sugar foods when you don't have enough energy, when you haven't gotten enough sleep. So when you're feeling exhausted and you just feel also so hungry, you just can't help but reach for snacks, or you feel like you want to eat everything and you're so tired. I know for me, when I travel for work, that day of travel, when I'm so exhausted, of course, it will be a 6-hour flight to LA, I could eat everything in the world. I am the hungriest I've ever been in my life. And I mean, that's just natural. That's just how the body naturally functions. So that's just the biology of it. It's not this lack of willpower, this huge fault that you have. In a way, your body's working against you because you don't have enough energy. You didn't get enough sleep. So it's really important that we understand this and, instead of just blaming ourselves, we're able to actually take steps to better our routine and just have something that we know that we need to work on. I always like to, be able to solve a problem. If I can at least identify what the issue is, then I know, okay, girl, we got to get enough sleep. And, I talk about this later too, but the general recommendation people give is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. It can differ from person to person, but most of us have really normalized running on less. Let me know in the comments how many hours of sleep you get on average. I've really been trying to lock in on that this year and get at least 8 hours of sleep when I can. I did not last night. Let me tell you, I'm exhausted today, but I can feel it. I can feel it in my day to day. I know I'll be able to feel it in my workout later. Not getting enough sleep or running on a few hours of sleep is just not a flex. It's actively harming you and keeping you from your goals. And that's not to say beat yourself up anytime you don't get enough sleep. That's just to say this is something that we should identify. The same way that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you go over your calories on one day, right? You just want to get back on track and be okay, I didn't get enough sleep last night. I personally did not, but tonight I'm really going to prioritize making sure I go to bed earlier and get enough sleep. And I promise you're going to feel the difference in how you feel in your day to day, how your workouts are feeling, your hunger levels. Your body will respond extremely well when you start prioritizing sleep. So anyways, I just wanted to jump in and cover the why first before we jump into developing the routine so that you actually want to make the change and understand why it's worth it. But back to sleepy Leah.
But let's dive into actual bedtime, because if you guys know me, you know that I just am not a morning person, okay? I would love to be a 5 a.m. girly. I think, you know, that just sounds really nice. It's never gonna happen for me, okay? I work on the East Coast, but I work LA hours since I work remote, and my boyfriend is a server who's constantly working nights and getting off around 11:30. And so the thought of going to bed at 9 or 10, as nice as it sounds, is just, it's never gonna happen for me. But it doesn't really matter that much what time you're going to bed, as much as it matters that you're consistent and you're getting enough sleep. In order to make sure you're getting enough sleep each night, you should start off by picking what time do you need to be or want to be up. And then from there, you're gonna move 7.5 to 8.5 hours back. And if you're like, oh my gosh, but I've been going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning every day and I wanna go to bed at midnight, I'm just gonna like, you know, force myself to wake up early in the morning. Don't gotta do that, okay? Just move in 15 to 20 minute increments, slowly bringing that time that you're going to bed earlier and earlier until you're where you want to be. This will make it way less tough on you, both physically and mentally, when it comes to how exhausted you are and also trying to get yourself to go to sleep. One thing that I really love to do is romanticize the wind down before I go to bed. That's why, you know, I actually recently bought myself a really nice robe so I can put on right when I get out of the shower. Sometimes I like to add in a little face mask. Like, I kind of basically want to make like my post-shower routine a part of my wind down. So nice robe, putting some lotion on, a face mask, just kind of resets and like just signals, I feel like, to my brain, like it's time to wind down. There are also some no-goes before bed or time limits that we're gonna wanna put on ourselves. When it comes to food, I really try to not eat 2 to 3 hours before bed. Honestly, I'm not great at this, okay? It's something that I really need to improve, but it is so much better. And also looking into this, I saw that like a light snack is kind of fine, like an hour to an hour and a half before bed. But I think putting a limit on when you stop eating before bed is not only great for, you know, your sleep, but also for cravings. Like, one great thing to do is just to like brush your teeth way earlier than you're going to bed. I have a tendency to brush my teeth right before I go to bed, but stopping eating and then going to brush your teeth, I feel like it just puts this mental wall up where I'm like, oh, I already brushed my teeth, so I'm not gonna eat. Is it gonna absolutely kill your late night cravings? No, but it's just kind of developing this habit where you're signaling to your brain, you know, I'm done eating for the day. Also with caffeine, this is actually a choice I made earlier in the day to not have my pre-workout energy drink before my workout because it was too close to my bedtime. Around 8 to 10 hours before bed, you really shouldn't be having caffeine because it just stays in your system and can make it harder for you to fall asleep. Again, I'm not perfect. I don't always do this, but I do notice a real difference. Like when I was looking at my Whoop and like my sleep scores, the days that I had double the caffeine, those are the days where I had caffeine later in the day, my sleep was significantly worse. So this is a real thing that I've been able to see through my data. And so be conscious of that when, you know, if you're doing a late night workout and you're taking pre-workout or you feel like you need a boost of energy later in the day. Just try to time out your caffeine in a way that makes sense and isn't gonna hinder your sleep. And then screen time, guys. I am so bad at this. You really should be off your phone like an hour before bed, but I'm terrible at this. I'm so terrible at it. I'm on my phone all the time because I work in social media during the day. I obviously make content for you guys, which I love to do. And also like just like recreational, that's saying recreational is funny, but you know what I mean? Like recreational social media use, like I also go on social media for fun. And so I feel like I am just like glued to my phone so often. And it's something that I've been trying to really kind of limit, though I haven't been doing a great job recently. But things that I really like to do to kind of supplement this are like reading a book before bed instead, doing some yoga or stretching, like just literally anything but being on my phone. That's something I'm really gonna be trying to work on this like latter half of the year. Let me know if you guys would like to see a video about me kind of getting my sleep on track, because all of this is great advice that I am eager to lock in on. Also, you might be wondering, should I get a sleep tracker? Is it worth having a sleep tracker? Some of you may know that I personally use a Whoop. I really like the Whoop, but I love fitness trackers in general. I use an Apple Watch for a really, really long time. My best friend has an Oura Ring and she swears by it. You know, I love the Whoop because of its focus on recovery, and I actually got it because I didn't focus on recovery at all throughout most of my fitness journey. I really didn't start focusing on recovery until later last year, and I have noticed a huge difference. So you can definitely invest in a tracker, but they're really like great if you're really interested in getting granular and nerdy about your data like I am. You guys know I love a DEXA scan. Like I love having all of the data possible to work with. So having a fitness tracker just gives me another way to do that. But honestly, like you could just log in a journal or whatever, how you're feeling when you wake up, when you do certain habits and when you don't do them. Because the reality is, if you're following a consistent wind down routine, making sure you're going to bed consistently and on time, you're just gonna see an improvement in how you feel and your recovery. And like I promised, I do want to talk a little bit about being on a calorie deficit and how it can impact your recovery and why I think recovery is so important to prioritize for weight loss. So one thing to keep in mind is that if you're eating a calorie deficit, you're giving your body less energy to work with and you might feel more sore after a workout. That doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong, but a huge reason why it's so important to keep our calorie deficits moderate and sustainable is that the less you eat, the longer you'll take to recover, which means the longer you'll have to take breaks in between your workouts, more rest days, which means less muscle growth. And I'm not saying you can't take rest days. Rest days are absolutely important and they're an essential part of recovery as well. Like you can't just push your body to push your body, but if you're in a really severe calorie deficit, it's going to be so much harder for your body to recover. So there's a balance of having that moderate calorie deficit so you have enough energy to train and recover properly while still being able to lose weight. And also if you're eating a calorie deficit, it's extremely important to eat high in protein so that you can keep building / retaining that muscle. This way the majority of the weight you lose will come from fat instead of muscle. And I promise you, that's what I did. And if you like my results, I'm telling you, that's what you got to do. Is there anything you learned in this video or any parts of recovery that you've been neglecting? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope this video is helpful and inspires you to make recovery something that is essential in your journey and also just like something you enjoy, a way to like take care of yourself at home and relax. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, because duh, of course you liked the video, you made it this far. And if you like this video, you should follow me over on my Instagram as well, because I be posting daily content, answering your questions on stories, showing my workouts. Like I promise, it's cool AF over there. Thanks so much for watching this week's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.